Now we are starting the spotlight. Welcome everyone
Okay.
to today's Wakeelite Book Club Spotlight. We are honored to feature a remarkable educational work, How to Craft Intelligence, a parent's and teacher's guide to building bright minds, written by a renowned educationalist, Roy Andersen. Appreciate the great name. With more than 4 decades dedicated to the study of intelligence and human development, Roy Anderson has helped reshape how we think about learning, emotion, and the growth of the human mind. Today, we will explore the powerful idea that intelligence is not simply inherited, it can be cultivated through love, language, and meaningful interaction. Now, Mr. Roy, in 2 to 3 minutes, can you please give a short introduction about yourself, about your author's journey,
Yes, yes.
how it can inspire more readers, and how your book can reflect? Please, in 2 minutes, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hihi Oma. My name is Roy Anderson. I was born in Liverpool, England. And for 12 years in school, I did not understand what was happening. When I left school at 17, I failed every school examination. I got a zero in every subject. I didn't understand. I got a job. I traveled around. I went back into education when I was 19 and a half. And then everything changed. I was the top student in the class. I was the top student for the first year in the whole college. And every examination was always above 90% pass. Sometimes it was 100% pass. I had 14 examinations, major examinations. They were the highest grade you can imagine. And when I left college, when I was 24, I had some of the highest qualifications in my country. So it was a big question for me. Why did I fail school? And why do so many children fail school today? So, what is wrong with school? So, I spent 10 years in isolation learning about the human mind, genetics, neurology, psychology, education, everything about how we develop the child from birth, well, in fact, from the moment the egg is fertilized, right the way through to after birth, child development, school processes, and so to university, and then to job. And then I've been lecturing around the world on this. I've written 14 books, and now I'm also interested in the effect of AI because I'm sure this will cause a lot of social problems. And so this is me. Please. So the book that we are talking about at this moment, there are 14 books. This book explains what intelligence is and what it is not. It explains about sensitivity from the parent and from the teacher to the child or the student, and the sensitivity of the child or the student learning and developing. It talks about a chemical process in the mind called cortisol, which is very important to understand, and how cortisol can interfere with the mind of the student trying to learn. And then I talk about how school really works. School is the processing system. We think that the purpose of school is to teach our children to learn. It is not. The purpose of school is to produce two kinds of citizen worker, the manager and the managed. And I explain how this process works. And then I also talk about AI in school and also about AI affecting our civilization. Well, that's about it. Would you like to ask me questions and I can help you as much as you would like to know?
Yes, this is really incredible, and this is very interesting to with your author's journey. Leaders, please appreciate Mr. Roy. This is very fantastic, and we'd like to hear more from you. We have questions We have some questions that we would like you to take us through. What does
Okay,
crafting
okay,
intelligence really means in practical terms? What does crafting intelligence really means in practical terms?
okay. Understand that we do not have intelligence. There's no intelligence in my mind, there's no intelligence in your mind. Intelligence is a word that tries to describe the ability of different individuals. Okay. Now, to craft intelligence, we're talking about how we can develop the ability of the individual, the human being, to raise their awareness of the world about them. And it all comes down to emotional sensitivity. If the child or the adult is emotionally secure and interested, they can learn. They can learn the information. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, and the
Hello.
listeners are also hearing from you.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's basically to craft intelligence is to be sensitive to the emotional needs of the child, because the human mind, we want to teach a child something, so we say, child, listen to me. But the mind of the child is not like that. The mind of the child is asking itself two questions. Number one, am I safe? Now, am I safe at home? Are my parents living kind, or are my parents fighting? Is my parents divorced? And if they're divorced, I have a sense of insecurity and I'm worrying about who I am. Am I safe in the school? Are the children in the class kind to me, or do they laugh at me? Do they find fun against me? And then, of course, am I safe with the teacher? Do I feel that the teacher is kind and loving, or am I frightened of asking the teacher a question in case I get shouted at? And then these are the and if the mind of the child is happy in those three instances, then it can focus and it can concentrate. Providing that the second part is that the mind is asking itself, what is the most important thing for me at this time? Now, if the information is boring, if the teacher is not able to capture the interest of the child, then the child of the mind's child will drift to other things. What did I movie last night? Or do I like her? Or does she like me? Or does he like me? And then what will we do in the playtime? The mind is always searching. And if the teacher cannot capture that attention, then the mind is drifting. Now, what we need to understand is that school's got nothing to do with intelligence. Nothing to do with intelligence. School works on two languages. These are mathematics and the language chosen by the school. This is English, Uburu, or French, or German, or Chinese, whatever language it is. And these languages work on rules. Now, when the child begins school, they 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 move through these rules. Do you understand me? Am I talking too quickly?
Yes,
Okay, okay. So please ask me questions. I can then talk.
yes.
Question answer. Question answer.
Here is another question here from our moderator. It says,
Okay,
why do you believe emotions plays such a powerful role in cognitive development? And how can we undo emotional frustration? Check the chat
okay,
box.
okay,
Check the chat box.
okay,
Why do you believe emotions play such a powerful role in cognitive development? And how can we undo emotional frustration?
okay. When you think, your heart or your mind is questioning whether or not this is interesting. Everything comes down to how happy you are. If you are happy and not worried or distressed, then you can focus. You can learn. If your emotion is worried, and you must understand that learning in school is a social experience. It is not just one teacher and one student. It is one teacher and 30, 40, 50, 60 students all trying to learn at the one time. And the mind of every child is asking itself, are other children laughing at me? Are other children happy with me? This is a big, important thing. And if so, this is why emotion is very important in cognitive development,
Wow.
because it gives the
Interesting.
mind, it helps the mind to concentrate and focus. Now, if we're talking about problems with emotion, this is very important. And before I go any further, do you understand? Do you have any questions?
Yes, yes, I'm getting your point. Readers have been asking some questions, but we are going to get back to it. Kindly proceed with what you are asking, what you are saying.
Okay, thank you. There is when we the human mind is made up of many brain cells. Now these brain cells they don't touch. There's a gap, and we call this a synaptic gap. And there are 50 types of chemicals that carry the brain one signal from one neuron to the next neuron. It's the network of the brain. One important chemical is called cortisol. Now, cortisol is a very, very important chemical that no teacher I've ever met knows about it. Let me explain to you. So imagine that you're walking along a path and you're happy. You see the trees, the flowers, the sky. You're singing a song. Your mind is very, very happy on everything. And then you see a snake. When you see that snake, you forget about everything else except the snake. And then you decide if you're going to keep still or if you're going to run. Now, the brain enables you to do that. So when you have a danger, when you have any kind of a problem, there's a chemical called cortisol, and cortisol rises in the brain, and it floods this part of the brain. The part of the brain that deals with thinking is here. Cortisol comes up and it floods so that you cannot think. You cannot think about the trees, the flowers, the sky, anything else. And because this part of the brain is flooded, there's another part of the brain that deals with the danger. So then you think only about the danger, the snake, and you run away. Now, it's exactly the same in a social situation. If a child is in the classroom and other children are laughing at the child, or if the child is worried because the father is hitting the child at home, or if the teacher is very angry, and then I have many instances. A teacher will call a child and say, "Child, come here," and the teacher will say to the child, "You are very stupid." Now, when that happens, the child is embarrassed and frightened. That causes cortisol to come up, and then the child cannot think. They cannot think for 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe one day, maybe 2 days. The mind is blocked because cortisol is here. Now, to get rid of cortisol, you laugh. You make a free time, make a happiness, and then the cortisol comes down. So to get rid of emotional worry or emotional concern, keep the child happy. Give it love and security. And that causes the cortisol to come down, and the brain is able to understand information without any worry, without any distraction.
Wow, that's really incredible. Oh, that's really incredible. Appreciate Roy Anderson. Is there any way we can undo the emotional frustration?
Uh, laughter, laughter and love. It's the only thing. Laughter and love. And of course, praying to the God that you believe in, just to be happy. First, frustration is a negative energy, and you have to reduce the energy, the negative energy, with positive energy, which is to be happy and to give lots. Many teachers think that they have to be very strong, very strict, be authoritative. They don't understand that when the teacher is authoritative, they cause this cortisol to rise in the child's brain, so the students cannot think. I explain this when I travel around classrooms and I talk to teachers and like that. But please ask me more questions. We have limited time, and I've got
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the reader's questions. Let's take it
okay.
one by one and gradually, but gradual process. Victoria Evans asked a question. She said, "What role does emotional safety play in a classroom or home environment?" Emotional safety. I think we are dealing with emotions today.
It's very important. Very very important. Well, it's the answer is the same. If the individual, if the child is emotionally happy, they can forget about the fears. The problem then is that if they are very happy, the mind is all over the place, here, 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 here. So then the teacher must bring the mind to calm down and to look at this information here.
Oh wow. Appreciate Roy Anderson. Appreciate Roy Anderson. Wow. This is really, really incredible. Another question from Somad. I think this one is communicated from Africa. Somad. It
Okay.
says, "What mistakes do parents commonly make when trying to develop their child's intelligence?" Wow.
Well, there are two mistakes. Well, the biggest mistake is for the parent to tell the child, you must work hard. You must work hard. You must be the best. I want you to be a doctor. You've got to work hard. The problem is, once the parent tells the child, you must do it, it takes the fun out of the child. Then the energy to learn is pulled down. Then they're thinking, oh, I've got to learn. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I've got to do this. I don't want to do this because I'm being made to do it. So it's for the parent to understand that the mind of the child is like a plant. You give the plant water, you give the plant sunshine, you give the plant love, and it grows and it blooms. It just needs a direction. So the parent is to help the child say, what do you want to do? The child says, I want to be an astronaut. Well, we know the child cannot be an astronaut. But if you feed the idea, great, I love this. And in 1 year, it changes its mind and it wants to be a lawyer, whatever it happens to be. But the important thing is that you allow the child to find out what they want to do, then they have their purpose to want to learn.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate. Now, my own observation from this answer is, what if the child is having a passion, a dream on its own, and the parents were creating an, were serving as an antagonist, going against the child dream? How can this come back to a resolution?
We must understand that the child has their life to lead, and God has allowed this human being to find their path in life. The parents know the dangers. The parents know that if the child is a doctor, if the child is a lawyer, they can earn money, then they can be secure and have good money. And the parents worrying about this. But the most important thing is for the parents not to pressurize the child. Don't take the the child. The brain wants to learn. If the parent says you must learn this, and the child's not in the heart, they can't learn it. They get low marks. Then the parent gets angry. Then the child gets depressed, and they lose more marks. It is just to give love, to allow the child to do what they want to do in their way and in their time, and just guide them. Make sure that they're emotionally secure and happy. That's all. That's the biggest thing.
Wow, they should be emotionally secured and happy. Wow, that's really incredible. Let's go to another question from Rachel Martins. I think Rachel is communicating, is joining us from United States. Thank you. What is one simple
Okay.
habit parents can start today to help develop their child's thinking ability? What is one simple habit?
So,
What is one simple habit parents can start today to help develop their child's thinking ability? I think you understand this.
yes. Well, first of all, to make sure the child is emotionally happy, that they are not worried about people in school, nobody is hurting them. That's the most important thing. And then to develop self confidence. And I often suggest that all children should learn some kind of a martial art, karate, judo, whatever it is, because this gives the child self confidence. And this self confidence helps them to be strong in a social environment. They believe in themselves, and therefore they can ask questions. Now, there is there is so much I would like to explain, and we have very limited time. But just let me explain to you that school has got nothing to do with intelligence. It is about how the child learns the rules of the two languages. If the child learns the rules of mathematics, they can understand any mathematics and be the top class. If the child understands the rules of the language, English or Igogo or whatever it happens to be, they know how to spell. They know the rules of how to spell the word. They know the rules of the grammar, how to put the right word in the right place. And they know the rules of how to tell their story. And it is, we must understand, school works on language ability, not intelligence. School works on language ability. So it's very important for parents to develop storytelling with their child. And I can explain why if we have the time for that.
Kindly proceed with the why.
Well, when the child is born, immediately the child is born, the mother, the father should tell stories to the child. Because the infant is still able to understand language construction. It can't talk for some months, but it's able to understand how the sound of words. Now, when the child is taught stories, it increases the number of words they have. So they are more able to explain their feelings and be more accurate when they explain their mind. Stories help them to be more familiar with words. This means they can have a higher association with other information, so they can quickly adapt to different meanings. Storytelling helps them to put their thoughts in a sequence of events. So very clear part one, part two, part three. They know how to explain their mind in the story tense. Now, in school, whenever they do anything, if they're writing an essay about history, if they're writing an essay about geography, even if they're doing mathematics, they're telling a story. And so the parent and the teacher understand what they're doing. When you're telling when you're telling a story to another person, you must think that that person has nothing in their mind, nothing. They don't understand. It's just an empty box. So the child must do the story in three parts. Number one, I am going to tell you some information. This is the introduction. So the mind of the person is ready. Oh, some information is coming. Number two, here is the information in parts, in clear parts. Part one, part two, part three, part four. This is the information I give to you. And then lastly, this is why I give you the information. Do the conclusion, the end of the story. The wolf ate the whatever it happens to be. This is the content of a story. And the child's ability in school will be judged not on their intelligence, but how they explain their mind. Let me give you a simple example. We all know the sun is big, yellow, and it's hot. So you ask two children of 5 years old. You say to the child, What is the sun? One child says, the sun is yellow. Another child says, the sun is big, yellow, and hot. Now, this child who says the sun is big, yellow, and hot will get a higher mark because they're explaining the mind better. It's the same right the way through the school process. Please ask me questions.
Thank you very much. You said storytelling can also contribute to what can increase a child's thinking ability. My own
Yes,
observation for
yes,
this is, do you advise to be using novels? I mean, novels for children
yes, yes,
in kind of this situation.
yes. Absolutely, because this is the level of the story. The novel is just a novel is interesting. It's happy. It's fascinating, and this is the emotional interest. And if the emotional interest is there, then the child is aware of the words. Well, the novel is very important.
Oh,
Let me explain to you that I explained to you that there was a study done on a tribe in the Amazon jungle in South America, and they found out that the words of these people is very very small. They can count one, two, three, and many. So these people, the psychologists, they asked the Indians, "What is? Do you understand four?" No. Do you understand 10? No. Do you understand 50? No. They could understand one, two, three, and many because their language limited their ability to understand. So, this is why words are very important in intelligence.
oh, wow, that's really nice. We are having a short time to proceed, but we have some questions to answer. Another question
Okay, okay.
coming from Scott. In today's AI-driven world, what skills should we prioritize when raising intelligent children? What skill?
Well, with AI, it's very important that you learn to give the right question very specifically to get the specific information that you want. The AI will give you what you give it. The more detailed information you give in your question, the more detailed response and more accurate will be the response to you. But this raises a very important point. There are two kinds of AI. There is Chat GPT and there is uh, other kinds like Kamingo. Now, Chat GPT lowers intelligence. It gives you ask the question, it gives the answer. The child switches off. Now, there was a study done last year in MIT in America, and they, they put the children into two groups. Now, they found out that the children who used AI, 83% of them did not know the last sentence they dealt with. The last sentence they typed, they didn't know what it was, they had no information. Their mind was zero blank. Their mind was blank because they just took what the information gave and they type it down. They didn't learn anything. Now, we found out that they were faster using AI, but their mind learned nothing and their motivation to want to learn was lower than the people who read books and used pens and paper.
Mr. Roy, do you advise using some other AI tools apart from ChatGPT that is very unique?
Yeah, there's one program called Canmingo,
Can you please
and
type? Can you
it's
please
not.
type it under the chat box?
Yeah, where's the chat box? Wait a minute. I'm not familiar with this. Uh,
Do you see?
I don't know where the chat. Uh, Wait a minute. I write it down for you. Hold on.
Okay. You can send it to me after the spotlight.
Flamingo.
Wait, kindly. Okay, Canmingo.
Yeah,
Khanmigo. Thank you very much.
that's right. Okay. So Flamingo is not free. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know. But I think it's not expensive because it's very. But the difference is with ChatGPT, the child asks the question, they get the answer, full stop, and the child stops thinking. But Camingo says to the child, "Why did you ask this question? If I tell you this answer, do you think it's correct?" The Camingo makes the child think. It develops their intelligence.
Wow.
And this is very important because government schools, they have little money. They will use ChatGPT. Private schools will use Camingo. So the children who go to government schools will have lower intelligence than children who go to private schools, if the private schools use Camingo, for example, because their intelligence will develop. So you're having two types of citizen already: those who think less and those who think more, because of the AI programs.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time, and we are really learning from you in these spotlights. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, another question. How can language shape the way children think and solve problems? Language. This is the power of language here. How can language shape the way children think and solve problems? Language.
Well, the more words you know, the more you can be accurate in identifying information, and the more accurate you can be in explaining yourself. This is the purpose of language. If you uh, if one parent says to a child, uh, "Give me the red box," okay, and another parent says to the child, "Give me the small red box on the right hand corner of the table." So the more language the child enables to identify with the information better, and so when they speak the same way.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much. This has really contributes a lot of experience and a lot of insight to our mindsets and intelligence. We really appreciate your time. This is very, 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 very interesting today. I can say your insight is really a great experience we've ever experienced through this spotlights ever than before. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate.
Let me explain something.
I think.
Let me explain.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, I tell you that that school works not on intelligence. School works on languages. There's mathematics and the language used in the school, English, French, whatever language it is. Now, these languages are based on rules. Rule one, rule two, rule three, rule four. If the child learns the rules, if they go to the class, they pay attention, they're not distracted, they understand the rule and they practice it, then they get good marks because they can easily negotiate through a learning task. They know the rules of where to go and how to do it. They have because of this they have high confidence. And because they have high confidence, they're interested to explain their mind to others and have the confidence to ask questions. So they learn and they correct better the information they're learning. And of course, then they develop better mental efficiency. And because they know the rules, they get better grades, better marks. But if they don't learn the rules, if they're distracted, if they don't ask the teacher to explain the rule, then they become confused. They lack confidence. They lose interest in the subject and they get low marks. But there's a lot more we can talk about.
Thank you
But
very
please
much,
go ahead.
Mr. Roy. Thank you very much. I think we are coming to the end of this spotlight. Our time is lapsing already. Coming to the end of
No, no,
this, do you have any?
no, 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 it says we have 15 minutes left.
Yes, we are trying to make everything coordinating before our times end. So there is another question
Okay.
from David Christian. He says, Author Roy, did you have a website where we can explore your books?
Yes, yes, of course. But the website is given on the flyer. The website is www.andersenroy.com. How do I get onto this writing? I don't know.
Let
How,
me
how do
let
I
me let me
how do I?
type it here.
Here we go.
www.andersen Roy.
I got it. There we go.
Okay, seen already. So we've seen the website. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Another question from Ayomide. It says, is
Okay.
it recommended to use AI to teach my children when they are growing up till their adult stage? And won't it have any negative effects on them?
Well, the most important thing is to control their time on on the telephone. You know, they're playing games. This is the most important thing to control the time the child plays on the telephone. Number one, very important, because they lose time. They waste hours. They're losing their life playing on the phone. Now, the AI, I personally would limit my child's experience with AI only so the child knows how to communicate with I. But I would teach the child with books, with reading, with writing. In fact, Sweden, the country of Sweden, some years ago, they took the pens and papers away and they gave the child computers to learn one. They've discovered that this is very bad and the children are not learning. So now Sweden has stopped the computers and brought back the pens and pencils and the books. So you can use AI with limitation, limitation,
Okay.
and remember the problem with AI is that the child is not explaining their thoughts. They're just listening. They get a question, they get the answer. Question, answer, question, answer. They're not developing their language skills with a human being.
Well,
There's no social development.
thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Your answers are very interesting with the right answers to the questions. But now my question is, how do you feel today? And do you have any acknowledgements to give about the Book Club? Please kindly share your thoughts, share your experience today.
Well, I'm very happy to meet people around the world. And in fact, I tried to learn some word to greet you. I don't know if you heard me. Hihi obu was greetings in Nigerian language, I understand. But while we're here, it's very important to understand that the world is going to change very fast, very soon. AI is going to take many jobs, and people in school today, many will never have a job because the AI will take their jobs, and this is going to cause a lot of social problems, which I talk about in my books.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. Thank you very much. And I hope if we are featuring you another time, maybe in April, you are going to be available. And you can also
Yeah,
secure your spot again with the Wakeelite Book Club. I understand that.
Okay. Yeah, I would like that very
I
much.
mean, will you be available next time we are featuring you on our author spotlight?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's really nice. Thank you very much. Now, moving to the end of this spotlight, I think we can conclude our conversation now. Thank you to Author Roy Anderson for sharing this powerful insight on how intelligence can truly be nurtured. And thank you to everyone who joined us today through this Wakilite Book Club. If you are passionate about helping children grow into thoughtful, intelligent, and compassionate human beings, we strongly encourage you to explore Roy Anderson's book on Amazon, on his website, to gain more engagement and to get more sales. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, readers. Thank you, Roy Anderson, and thank you, Wakilite Book Club.
Can I can I just say one final thing?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Okay. Research has proven that the parents who talk to their child, the parents who tell their child stories and spend time with the child, when the child is 3 years old, that child knows 30 million words more than the child who's raised by parents who don't talk a lot, who
Wow.
don't help the child.
Wow.
And then they find out that when the child is 10 years old, the ability of the child in school is reflected on how they were raised by the parents before they went to school. This is storytelling.
Thank you very much.
I would, I would, I would love to come to Nigeria. I would love to meet you all, and you're very welcome to make another
No
talk
problem. We really appreciate your
anytime.
time and we are happy to connect with you. Thank you very much. Bye.